Hey everybody, this is Randy, gamertag Static Reflex, and today what I wanted to do was something I've seen a few people do, but I've got some jokes and I've got some of my favorite Chuck Norris facts, and I figured for this video that's what I'd do. So some of my favorite Chuck Norris facts is what I'm going to start with. Chuck Norris's computer does not have an escape key. No one escapes from Chuck Norris. There used to be a street named Chuck Norris, but it had to be changed because nobody crosses Chuck Norris and lives. Chuck Norris uses P90X to cool down after a workout. Chuck Norris puts the fun in funeral. Chuck Norris is the leading cause of death. Death is number 2. Chuck Norris won a game of Nazi zombies. Chuck Norris doesn't go hunting because hunting implies the probability of failure. Chuck Norris goes killing. Chuck Norris doesn't play hide and seek. He plays search and destroy. Chuck Norris doesn't teabag a bitch, he potato sacks her. Every 4 years, Chuck Norris's kids have a family reunion. We know this as the Olympics. Chuck Norris's voice doesn't echo. No one talks back to Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris once went to the Virgin Islands. Now they're just called the Islands. Chuck Norris sleeps with his pillow under his gun. Ghosts are actually caused by Chuck Norris killing people faster than death can process. Chuck Norris has beat the shit out of so many people in his life that most medical journals now classify him as a laxative. Chuck Norris doesn't dial the wrong phone numbers. People answer the wrong phones. Chuck Norris once donated blood. The recipients of this donation are now known as the X-Men. Chuck Norris doesn't tell jokes because his punchlines would kill. When the president pushes the big red button, Chuck Norris's cell phone rings. Chuck Norris destroyed the periodic table because he only believes in the element of surprise. Chuck Norris cannot smoke weed because it is impossible for Chuck Norris to take a hit. Some kids piss their name in the snow. Chuck Norris can piss his name in concrete. Chuck Norris likes his meat so rare, he only eats unicorns. Chuck Norris has no reflection because there is only one Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris once ran a marathon backwards just to see what second place looked like. Most antibacterial soaps kill 99% of germs. Chuck Norris kills 100% of whatever the fuck he wants. They found Chuck Norris's diary. It is now known as the Guinness Book of World Records. Once Death had a near Chuck Norris experience. Chuck Norris's calendar goes straight from March 31st to April 2nd. No one fools Chuck Norris. Jesus, the Pope, and Chuck Norris were all in a boat. All of a sudden, Jesus gets out and walks on water until he reaches the shore. Chuck Norris does the same thing. When the Pope tried, he sank and drowned. Jesus said to Chuck, "Do you think we should have told him about the rocks?" Chuck Norris replies, "What rocks?" Chuck Norris's blood type is AK-47. Alright, so those were some of my favorite Chuck Norris jokes that, I got a couple more. Cats have Chuck Norris-like reflexes. Yeah, that's a good one. And, when Chuck Norris jumps into the water, Chuck Norris doesn't get wet. The water gets Chuck Norris. So those are some of my favorite Chuck Norris facts. I can bring you some more if you guys like this kind of video. So I figured the rest of the video I looked up some good jokes, so I figured I'd end it with those. A wife and her husband decided they need a code word for when they wanted to have sex. So they decided on do some laundry. So that night the husband rolls over and asks his wife, "Do you feel like doing some laundry?" She says, "No, the laundromat's closed." So later that night she rolls over and says to her husband, "As a matter of fact, I do feel like doing some laundry." He says, "That's okay, it was only a small load and I did it by hand." A man and a woman who have never met before find themselves in the same sleeping carriage of a train. After the initial embarrassment, they both manage to get to sleep. The woman in the top bunk, the man on the lower. In the middle of the night, the woman leans over and says, "I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm awfully cold and I was wondering if you could possibly pass me another blanket." The man leads out with a glint in his eye and says, I've got a better idea. Let's pretend like we're married. And she says, why not? Good, he replies. Get your own damn blanket. The government today announced that they were going to change their emblem from an eagle to a condom because it more accurately reflects the government's political stance. A condom allows for inflation, halts production, destroys the next generation, protects a bunch of dicks, and gives you a sense of security when you're actually being screwed. Bob asked his doctor if he'd ever laughed at a patient. In over 20 years, I haven't. I'll do my best to remain professional. With that, Bob dropped his trousers, revealing the tiniest penis the doctor had ever seen. It was no bigger than a AAA battery. The doctor bursts out in uncontrollable laughter, wipes his tears, takes a deep breath, and says, I'm sorry. I really am. It won't happen again. Now how can I help you? Bob says, it's swollen. A guy walking in the woods after a big fight with his wife. He's so mad that he doesn't see a lamp sticking out of the floor, and he trips over it. A genie comes out and tells him he has 3 wishes, but the catch is, whatever he wishes for, his wife will have double of. So after a moment of thinking, he says, I wish for $20 billion. The genie says, done, but your wife now has 40. The next wish he asks for, 10 beautiful women. Done, but your wife now has 20 gorgeous guys. And what is your last wish? The genie asked, to which he replied, beat me half to death. Bob was in trouble. He forgot his wedding anniversary, and his wife was really pissed at him. So she told him, tomorrow morning I expect to find a gift in the driveway that goes from 0 to 200 in 6 seconds, and it better be there. The next morning, he got up early and left for work. When his wife woke up, she looked out the window, and sure enough, there was a box gift wrapped in the middle of the driveway. Confused, the wife put on her robe and ran out to the driveway, brought the box back into the house. She opened it and found a brand new bathroom scale. Bob has been missing since Friday. One day, a soldier received a letter from his girlfriend saying she was breaking up with him after 2 years of cheating on him. At first, he was hurt, but soon enough, he had a plot. He collected all the photos that he could of his fellow comrades, pictures of girlfriends and exes and wives, and he packaged them up and he sent them to his ex. He sent 57 pictures of women back to his girlfriend with the letter saying, I'm sorry, but I can't remember who you are. Please take your picture out of the pile and send it back with the rest. Let's see. A gorgeous young redhead goes into the doctor's office and claims that her body hurts wherever she touches it. Impossible, the doctor says. Show me. The redhead takes her finger, pushes on her left knee and screams in pain. Then she pushes on her elbow and screams in even more pain. She pushes on her stomach and screams, and then she pushes on her ankle and screams out even louder. Everywhere she is touched made her scream. The doctor says, you're not actually a redhead, are you? Well, no, she said. I'm actually a blonde. I thought so. The doctor says, your finger is broken. Let's see. I had an argument with a girl I know. She was saying how it's unfair that guys bang all different girls every week. He's a legend. But if a girl bangs just 2 guys in a year, she's a slut. So in response, I told her that a key that opens a lot of locks is a master key. But a lock that is opened by a lot of keys is a crappy lock. Little Johnny sat in a classroom. The teacher says, if you can tell me who said these quotes, I'll let you leave early. Who said 7 years ago? Nancy beats Johnny to it and shouts, Abe Lincoln. The teacher says, Nancy, you can leave. Who said, ask not what you can do for your country, but not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country? John Kennedy, shouts out Susan. The teacher says, very good, Susan, you can leave. Johnny says, I wish these bitches would keep their mouths shut. The teacher said, who said that? Johnny said, Tiger Woods. Can I leave now? And last one. Little Johnny was sitting in classroom doing math problems when his teacher picked him for answering a question. Johnny, if there were 5 birds sitting on a fence and you shot one, how many would be left? None, Johnny replied, because the rest would fly away. Well, the answer is 4, said the teacher, but I like the way you're thinking. Little Johnny said, I have a question for you now. If there were 3 women eating an ice cream cone in a shop, one licking her cone, the second biting her cone, and the third one sucking her cone. Wait, did I say that right? One licking her cone, the second biting her cone, and the third one sucking her cone. Which one is married? Well, the teacher said nervously, I guess the one sucking her cone. No, said little Johnny, the one with the wedding ring on her finger, but I like the way you're thinking. Anyways, I know this ran over a little bit, but I hope you guys liked it, and I'll talk to you guys next time.